This is the border of two regions, Mykolaiv and Kherson. From the very first days of Russia's full-scale invasion, the settlements here have been under constant shelling by the occupiers.
We installed new doors. There is nothing there. Everything around was damaged. There is not a single door left in the house, not a single window, nothing is left. But we have already, thank God, arrived. There is a place to lay your head. Thank God we're at home.
Svetlana returned to her native village a week ago. Her house was first to come under fire by Russian troops back in March. At the time of arrival, the woman, along with her husband and mother, were hiding in the basement. She says it was a miracle they survived.
We went down the stairs and sat there. It burned so much that even the upper manhole, which was here, was on fire. The blue itself fell on the gate leaf on the top. As soon as it blasted, everything flew away. We looked from the basement. The sky was already above us. Everything immediately caught fire, many thanks to the rescuers who came. We were already suffocating there. The basement, as it turned out, is not the best place to hide.
Then the family immediately decided to leave. The consequences of a hit by a Russian shell are being analyzed only now. In the middle of the yard is a pile of burnt iron, a motorcycle, tools, household appliances. Everything was destroyed by fire. Oh, for scrap, we will buy new. But now we know what to give parents for birthdays and other holidays. The sons of Svetlana are rebuilding housing destroyed by shelling. They decided not to leave their home anymore and to prepare for the cold. They say the repair will take at least a year. There are arms, there are legs, we work. The road of life runs through the entire village. People from the then captured Kherson were moving through it. Now every second house here is broken. The village council building was also damaged.
Right here from the middle, this is the beginning. And right there, it was a big office. It was just a huge office. When we had a village council, at that time we held sessions here. Meetings were held. And the office was just big. Together with the residents, we covered, closed, patched all holes, patched up the slate. I think we'll survive until spring. And in spring, the community will help us to restore this building. And it will be even better than it was before the war with the Russian occupiers. Here is such a hole. The doors, I think, will be historical. We will keep them this way. Let everybody know.
Work is in full swing at the destroyed village council. Building materials are delivered to residents and humanitarian aid is distributed.
All people need something today, because many were left without wages. The plan does not work. All enterprises do not work. If a pensioner who receives at least a minimum pension can afford to go buy a loaf of bread and some canned food, then people under 60 need help.
International organizations are also helping, such as survival backpacks were handed over from Denmark. Inside are flashlight, batteries, emergency kits and even a mini stove. The temporary office of the headman is decorated with gifts from volunteers and souvenirs left here by Russian troops. In the future, we plan to open a museum of aggression, evil of Russia against Ukraine. We'll find a place anyway. We'll find a room. This is a cluster bomb in front of you, which killed our former school director Nadia Trofimovna right in front of her yacht during explosions with such a fragment. And the last explosions we had on November the 2nd, the 3rd of this year. There were 4 people who received severe and moderate wounds. Thank God they're all alive today. They were provided with medical care by military hospitals on time. A 10-minute drive is already a neighboring village, closer to the front line. Now 500 people live here. This is 3 times less than it was before the big war.
There was a swing. We did all sorts of tricks there, and my dad worked there.
Polina's dad died 3 months ago. A Russian shell hit the territory of a local plant, just in time for his work shift. The girl was in Germany with her mother at the time. They left for the period of fierce fighting. The distance to the front was then measured in tens of meters.
There near us, rockets hit, and there was already no light. Where we played ball, they threw a rocket there. A tree fell. We got the light back, and then this happened.
Polina's grandmother is known far beyond the village.
So, on a scooter, Valentina Ivanovna traveled around all the checkpoints in the district. Every day she delivered homemade hot food to the military. She's preparing now. She's already waiting for her native defenders to visit.
Хлопцям картошка, жаркое приготовлене, хлопцям.
I cooked a roast for the guys and a salad for it in order for them to be well fed so that they would not be hungry, and so they would go, as they say, to their work. They would not be hungry, so that everything would be good there. Otherwise, it is cold and hungry there.
Combat Ivanovna. Such a call sign was given to her by Ukrainian fighters. Dmitro held the line of defense that passed through the village, then released Kherson. He says that without such a commander, it would be much more difficult. Valentina Ivanovna immediately showed us where we could hide, where we could go for water, where we could wash several times a week. Ivanovna closed all these tasks with herself. No one went hungry to the position from Ivanovna. She had no time for shelling. She stood at the stove all the time.
Комбат мені кричить.
The battalion commander shouts to me, "Ivanovna, to the basement." I say, "What basement?" My dough came up. The guys need to bake pies. And he called me to the basement. The house is shaking. Everything is shaking. Everything is on fire. But I need to feed the guys so that they are well fed.
Fed and left overnight. She recalls that at the same time there were more than 20 fighters in the house. While sleeping, she washed and dried the uniforms. In the morning, she again saw off to the front. Not everyone returned from the front line to Ivanovna.
Я їх всіх зберегла, а сина
I saved them all, but I didn't save my son. It turns out that 3 months after my son was killed and 40 days after Yurka was killed. For me, this is a huge loss. And they say do not get used to it, otherwise it will tear out your soul and tear out your heart. Exactly. They took it all from me. The soul, the heart.
Due to the constant attacks of Russian troops, most of the inhabitants of these villages left their homes. With the liberation of Kherson, the front line moved forward. Explosions sound farther. Then more and more people come back. Locals are returning to rebuild housing destroyed by the occupiers.
Війна наробила багато лиха.
The war brought a lot of grief to every family. Today, many are not sitting at home, but have come to protect our country. I believe that the victory will still be for Ukraine. There is no one like us anywhere. We, Ukrainians, are a unique people. I believe in victory. Therefore, glory to Ukraine.
By spring, they are preparing to sow the fields again. The villagers believe that by this time, victory for Ukraine will already happen. Reported by Pavel Stelmach, Daria Litovchenko, UATV News.